the Ambassadors Forum, distinguished colleagues from the Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen. I want to begin by saying how useful and informative I found the CSID annual conference last year, and what good speakers you had. I've looked forward a great deal to the annual conference this year, so I really feel privileged to be a part of the Ambassadors Forum on the role of the international community in supporting Tunisia. The huge difference from last year to now, of course, is the extraordinary and historic achievement of the Tunisian people earlier this year in adopting their constitution through a process of debate and negotiation, resulting finally in a valuable, hard-won consensus within the democratically elected National Constituent Assembly. I can confidently say that witnessing the signing ceremony of the Constitution by the three presidents in the National Constituent Assembly will remain one of the most unforgettable and inspiring moments of my diplomatic career. It was particularly evocative for me as an Indian that the Tunisian Constitution was adopted on 27th January, one day after the day India celebrates the adoption of her own constitution on 26th January 1950. India fully supports the democratic transition in Tunisia. We salute the people and the leadership of Tunisia for the many firm steps you have taken on the thorny path towards a durable democracy. We know that it has not been easy to get thus far, as Tunisia has had to struggle with many problems, including religious radicalism and terrorism, and an economy in very difficult straits. Nevertheless, the people of this great country have shown the region and the world that differing ideologies and schools of thought can coexist and work together through a difficult transition to achieve nationally recognized objectives of democracy and the rule of law. India sees a long-term future together with Tunisia. India can help with expertise in microfinance, capacity building, IT, and high-tech sectors over the long term. In the immediate future, we have offered our expertise to Tunisia in election management, and we are ready to help in any way that we can in this very vital sector. I wish to recall here the visit of our External Affairs Minister, Mr. Salman Khurshid, to Tunisia in early February this year, to salute the Tunisian people and government on their historic achievements. This was the first ever bilateral visit of our foreign minister to Tunisia in the independent history of our two countries. During his visit, he discussed cooperation in the sector of election management with the government of Tunisia. India has offered to Tunisia the gift of the full complement of electronic voting machines needed for conducting elections in Tunisia. These machines would be manufactured in India and would be worth about 5 million dinars. These are in use in India since more than 20 years and are cost-effective and nearly impossible to rig. But we understand that the Tunisian electorate is unfamiliar with electronic voting machines, as indeed are the voters of many countries. They are useful in India, as I was mentioning to someone the other day. When you have as many voters as you do in India, having ballot papers for each one of our voters would mean loss of a lot of forests. So I think it's good for everyone in the world that we use electronic voting machines, which are reusable. We will naturally defer to the priorities and preferences of Tunisian voters and Tunisia's easy in this matter. That's the, as many of you know, the instance supérieure indépendante des élections. We're interested to conduct a workshop in Tunisia with officials from our election commission later in the year on the voting machines and other issues related to election management. provided on-the-job training on the principles and practices of election management for 2 weeks to officials from EZ in New Delhi in April, that's next month, when our general elections will take place, with the largest electorate in the world of over 800 million voters. We are keen to welcome Mr. Mohammad Safsar, President of EZ, to visit India, to establish a collaborative relationship with the Election Commission of India. But we understand that this chapter of cooperation can begin only after the electoral law has been adopted by the National Constituent Assembly and after the juridical status and many other particulars of EZ have been established. And we will naturally await those events before taking forward this cooperation. In any event, we know Tunisia has successfully conducted free and fair elections in October 2011. So the collaborative relationship between the two authorities that we are trying to establish will aim to broaden existing horizons and to enhance the current expertise. We know that we will not be teaching, we are not seeking to teach anything new. There are important economic, political and social challenges facing Tunisia currently. A word on the economic challenges. It is perfectly understandable that there may well be unintended consequences of a newly achieved democracy and freedom. Labor unrest and discontent can freely express themselves, and the natural result, a drop in production. Thus, Tunisia has witnessed plunging phosphate production. From an average production of 8 million tons of rock phosphate in the pre-revolution period, the production last year was only around 2.5 to 2.6 million tons. In our view, every Tunisian has to realize that ultimately their salvation lies within them. Tunisia's great skills in engineering, its highly literate workforce, and its natural resources must be harnessed and made more productive than before to meet the revenue requirements of a country in transition. Since many years now, India is the largest buyer of Tunisian phosphate, and so naturally this drop in production has affected us sizably. And this is also a very important link between our two countries. It is a way in which Tunisia contributes to the food security of India, of which we are very, very proud, and it's important for us. I am confident that this realization is already there and that the phosphate sector will see a revival, just like the tourism sector is seeing a recovery currently. Tunisia has already shown the world that it knows how to resolve significant political differences and differences in ideology through negotiation and compromise leading to consensus. I am certain that the same spirit will prevail in bridging the political and social differences here as well. I would like to end with a quote from our External Affairs Minister, Salman Khurshid, made during his stay here. Mature democracies have much to learn from young democracies. India can learn from the determination with which Tunisia has taken forward the process of democratic transition and the spirit of compromise and consensus with which you have succeeded in adopting a constitution. End of quote. In other words, Tunisia, we are with you, holding your hand and also learning from you. Thank you very much.